Hey, welcome America, episode 28, Contra-Dictions coming to you on this Friday night. I got my boy Kenny in the house in Crofton. What do you know about that, right? He's making his rounds. He was in Alabama last week, right?
Yep.
And Alabama last week with the Crowells. He's in Crofton this week with the Beaten Calls. So what do you know? Here we go, Glenn. What you up to?
What's up, gentlemen? We got my man Kenny is traveling this month, man. That is awesome. Yeah, that is what's up. That's what's up. Good to see you guys. Happy Friday, everybody. I got my, even though they're the Washington football team, they're still going to be the Redskins at heart to me. You know what I'm saying? And since I'm pushing up on baby number 5,
Damn.
all hail the baby maker, baby.
Damn, we're going to start calling you freaking coach.
Right? Yeah, too late. They already
right? So, we got a lot of topics tonight, right? We're going to talk about some Biden and his little comments that he made. We got Trump going up in the polls. We can get to it. A little MLB, NBA talking about their statistics during this COVID crisis. And I think we had one more topic, right? What were we?
Well, Trump made some comments about kind of inverted God into the.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
politics, right? God in politics, right?
God in politics.
Let's let Kenny start it off. He's the guest in the house. Let him go real quick.
Go ahead, brother.
Well, first of all, I guess on the Trump saying the comments about he doesn't believe in God or he doesn't. The country's he's not going to support God or whatever. First of all, I'm not a big fan of. I just think that's not the right thing to do. I think we should not bring that up. I understand why he does, because I believe that most conservatives do think that the ideologies of the left are not pro-religion. I mean, and so, they're taking religion out of schools, that kind of stuff has been a leftist thing. So, but I still don't think it plays that well because, at the end of the day, you can certainly be on the left and believe in God. And you can certainly, they're going to say, well, God would be compassionate. I remember one time Obama had made a statement about, how can you be a Christian and not be for, giving more taxes to the poor? And so I don't like when you do that. Me personally, I think that stuff should be left out. What do you think, Glenn?
Yeah. I mean, there's even been this question I've seen trending. Is the Christian believer more conservative or more liberal? It's kind of like, is that really a question? And Kenny kind of touched on that when he said that, obviously you could be liberal and be a Christian. I have several conservative friends as well as liberal friends, and some of them are Christian, some of them are Catholic. Some of them are Jewish. On both sides of the coin, liberal and conservative. So, but I do think that one side, and I think that when you politicize religion, it just becomes bad. I mean, people have done some really horrible things in the name of religion, thinking that they're right. And I do think that the conservative party really tries to play on the whole Christianity thing. Being a God-fearing person or a God-fearing individual is a part of being a conservative. I would like to just think it's part of being an American. But this is nothing new. I mean, religion and politics, they became more closely linked, I would say, in the coming decades right after World War II. Before that, you had conservative evangelical.
The Yellers.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. So this is nothing new, but yeah, I think that as best we can, religion and politics should be kept separate. I don't necessarily agree. Kenny kind of touched on this. I don't necessarily agree with, with taking the religion out of schools. I agree with that, the core idea. I don't really agree. It's like, where do you draw the line? It's like, now you can't say Christmas anymore. It's like, it's just kind of crazy. You can't talk about Easter. You can't mention Black Friday. You can't say a Bible because somebody that reads the Quran may get right. It's like, where do you draw the line? right?
Yeah.
Religion wasn't built for that.
And I've seen people try to go, oh, well, the original Constitution, or I'm trying to think of what it was. It didn't say one nation under God.
Yeah.
It didn't say under God originally. And then you got people going, well, it is, it isn't. This country is a country of God. At the end of the day, I do believe that this is a
it's like we got to say, hold up, one country under God, Allah.
Yeah. The truth is that Allah is essentially God. That's what God
is. Yeah, exactly.
So I do think we are a God-fearing nation as a unit. Of course, there's people that don't, and you don't have to, and we should certainly have the freedom to not do it. But it stinks because it's so intertwined. It's very difficult for the God discussion to not become a part of it. So I'm actually okay with the God in politics. I just don't like in the presidential debate. I don't want them debating God. I understand because, of course, for me, I do think that God is one of the reasons that makes America great, because I believe that God wants us to have freedom to choose right and wrong. And so having freedom is what we all at our core, especially as Americans, should all value. And if we don't value it, it's because we haven't been to countries where you don't have freedom. And when you don't have freedom, then all of a sudden you start recognizing how important that freedom is. And a lot of countries are not nearly as free as we really are. And people can nitpick. And
you can see it in China right now, right? Aren't they rounding up all the Muslims and the Catholics right now?
And the Africans.
No, there you go. So you either believe our way or you're.
Well, it's the same way.
China has been treating, China has, not to get off topic, but China has taken quite a stake or a claim in Africa, as a continent, several different countries in Africa. And there's a lot of Africans, native Africans in China right now. And since the pandemic, the Africans have just been treated really bad. There's just been, video after video, there's Chinese security at the McDonald's, and they're just letting Chinese people walk in, not letting black people come in, just for no reason at all. Everybody's got masks and things like that.
Well, the sad thing is see, and this is where there either has to be freedom, or there has to be an understanding that, because there is actually a reason for it. The reason is that demographically blacks are getting it, and it's being worse for them than for white people and for Asians and for this group of people. So I'm not saying it's right, but that is the reason. And that's one of the reasons why we don't want to get into those games in this country. We want people to be able to have the freedom to be able to go. The freedom and because their government rules, even though they kind of have a capitalist environment underneath this cloak of,
communism,
right? So it's like they let people do it, but then they're this communist cover. And so that's why they'll never be totally free. And so, that is just it's horrible that, again, they're looking at people, they're lumping groups together. It's something that we really don't want to do. And my concern is if we keep doing what we're doing in this country down the road, those same things could happen.
And now take that situation, just to bring it back around full circle. Take that same situation, because they could easily say, the coronavirus is disproportionately, affected blacks, and they could use that as a reason or an excuse, if you will. And that works, and it does, and it works. And what are you going to say?
Well,
because it is a fact.
Work, it's just accurate.
And it could, it could be true, but it could work. It seems a little disingenuous to just say, hey, I'm not letting black people in. It just sounds crazy. You could take temperatures, you can do all sorts of things. To discriminate on a whole group seems a little weird to me. But take that same case, and what if the security that's standing in front of McDonald's, what if instead of them just doing it for their boss, what if they thought they were doing it for God or for a higher power, right? Then you have, because now they feel more emboldened, more justified. So that's why, anytime you start placing religion or God in anything, whether it's politics, whether it's whether it's school, because again, I agree with them taking it out of school. I just don't know where we draw the line. Even business, Starbucks can't put Christmas trees on cups anymore and things like that. It's kind of crazy. I just don't, I don't know really what the answer is, but if when people are doing things for God, it turns out way worse, and then they feel way more justified.
Well,
I
would disagree that it makes things worse, because just by the same token, the lack of God has not stopped any wars either. So
sure.
yeah, so I want people to be able to be as free to believe as they wish. If they believe that their God doesn't, again, within a business, I don't even care, and I've said this before, in our country where we're at today, as long as you don't have a communist government, then I'm okay with the individual business owner saying, hey, I don't want to do business with you. Because we have as much free, open social media that you could say, hey, if this guy over here doesn't want to let black people in, he shouldn't have to let black people in. And then people can just go, hey, this guy's not letting black people in, don't go shop there. And then his shop's going to go down.
Quick.
I don't think it's the right thing. I just don't like the government saying, hey, don't be racist. And then you're going, okay, I'm super racist, but now I got to let this black person in my store, right? I'm still racist. Now I'm just taking their money, but I'm still racist. I still hate this guy because of the color of his skin. And so,
that's been going on since day one, man. I mean, you saw the archives for the Tulsa race riots. I mean, plenty of white people couldn't stand black people, but they were taking their money all day long, and vice versa.
Right.
They were doing business together. They were hanging out in the same brothels and all sorts of stuff. So,
I think a lot of times people go, oh, if we take God out of it, it's going to get better. And it hasn't. The schools have not gotten better. The violence in schools has not gotten better. The people with mass shootings has not gotten better since God has been taken out of schools. I think people will end up taking, I don't even know if it's out of schools yet, but the Pledge of Allegiance. Do they even say that anymore?
It depends on the school you go to. Some don't say it at all.
I think
some don't say it, right?
Yeah,
and
you're
crazy to me.
In some instances too, you don't even have to stand in some classes.
Yeah,
and
I just
that's
feel like
crazy to me. This is crazy to me.
There are some good things that come with respect for authority, and again, me being a libertarian, I want freedom where the authority doesn't get. It's very limited authority. But just like your parents, even though they have the authority, it doesn't benefit them to just iron fist you, right? Like,
because then you're just going to constantly rebel.
Right. It makes sense for them to still be talked to like, yes, ma'am, no, sir, those types of things. There's value in that. And I remember being a kid and thinking that's kind of stupid. And when I moved down south, I see how that attitude ends up reflecting the leadership. And then it also affects how you start treating people. The minute that you say yes, sir, to somebody, they automatically look at you different. They do. If you say, what's up, dog, and you're 5 years old, you look at that child different than somebody that says yes, sir. You're like, oh my gosh, your son was so well behaved. What do you do? I don't know. He said yes, sir. That's a different tone. So I'm okay with God being the political arena, because I don't think we get around that. I mean, people get so deep into the abortion discussion and about, people can pull up God on any side of any argument. So that I think is all fair game. I just don't.
And I agree with that. And I think also too, especially in something like a presidential race, not only the media, but society as a whole is scrutinizing these individuals on a personal level so severely. That I think it's almost inevitable that the religion question is going to be asked.
I think the thing that we were talking about with God playing a role in schools and all that. Listen, that's been here since day one. The country was we left religious persecution.
Right. It was
to start here fresh, right? And now that we have it, or now that we gave religious freedom, so to speak, you had the right to choose whatever religion you wanted. But the foundation of the U.S. was God. So if you want to stay here and live in America, no one's saying you have to follow God. Just don't try and take them out of our culture.
For sure.
And I think that's fair. But I don't, with all that being said that I agree with, I don't like what Trump said about that. I just don't want it coming out of our president's mouth. or somebody running for president. You guys want to have, if his surrogates want to have that discussion, hey,
Right.
how can you be a Republican or how can you be a Democrat if you believe this? That's fine with me. But as a president giving, even if it's a campaign speech, I just think it's lowbrow, and I think I would rather the president or the person running for president not try to debate who's more godly.
Yeah, it teeters the line of almost what Biden said a few months ago. You know, how can you be black if you vote this, or you know, you ain't black if you vote this way, or you know, it kind of teeters along those same lines. Not like racially, but obviously, you know, in the aspects of religion. So yeah, it's never good when somebody's trying to tell you, you know, what you should or shouldn't do based on color, based on religion, based on anything, right? So
good segue there, Glenn. Way to bring that up, brother. So let's go right into that, huh? Let's talk about some of these comments that Biden's made in the most recent one. Not verbatim, but who wants to spit it out? What they remember what he said yesterday?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and kick this off. So this actually, it came during an interview with the NABJ and the NAHJ, which are they're institutions for Black and Hispanic journalists. You know, a lot of them, they're not nonprofits, but you know, they get together and you know they raise funds for different projects and things like that. So specifically for Black and Hispanic journalists, which is kind of crazy that he would make these comments in an institution that, or at an interview for institutions that are basically representing Black and Hispanic people. He essentially said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but actually, no, I'm not going to.
Basically, he said,
the quote. I'm not going to.
You can, as you're getting ready to say it, I'll go ahead and summarize, and then we'll see if it says what I believe it says. He's basically saying Black people are a monolith, Hispanics aren't.
Well, yeah. So the actual quote is, and by the way, what you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. That was pretty much what he said, and he went on to say, you know,
he didn't explicitly say Blacks aren't diverse.
What he basically said,
exceptions.
What he said was the Latino community is diverse, unlike the African community. You know, outside of notable exceptions. So yeah, so he did say that. I mean, he did say it kind of clear as day. He definitely said it, and he makes an ass of himself all the time. I mean, this is like the millionth comment that he's made. He makes stupid comments all the time. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I think Kenny said it best. You know, in a group chat that, and I usually don't bring up things that, you know, we talk about outside of the show, but we are thinking about having a behind the scenes segment or a backdoor segment, because we have great talks after the show. But in a group chat, Kenny had actually said that Biden is old. He really is racist at his core. He's just not, you know, let's control these thugs racist. Let's, you know, he's not like that. He's more of a all Blacks are a monolith racist. All Blacks look the same racist. You know, he's like you're very surface stereotypical kind of racist, and I agree, and I agree. And the fact that I think he's with the Democratic Party, so I think it kind of comes with being with the Democratic Party. He's expected to have some sort of an African American base, or have some sort of a substantial foundation with the African American community. And the reality is that he's lied about his role in the civil rights movement severely. His own team, his own inside group has told him several times to stop lying about your role in the civil rights movement. And he just he can't help himself.
Yeah, he said he had a sit-in that he wasn't in.
Yeah, exactly. He said he was at a sit-in in a restaurant when he was at the football team for the University of Delaware or something like that.
Right. Yep.
It was absolutely crazy. And then the Black guy that they kicked out, who is now a doctor today, he was like, man, they never sit in for me. They never helped me. Right?
Now, I'm not going to apologize for Biden, but here's what I'm going to say. I do believe, well, first of all, I think he should have said, I'm sorry. And for a group of people that have constantly attacked Trump for not saying, I'm sorry, this is one that Biden could have showed some humility and said, I'm sorry. He actually didn't apologize for this. Now, I will say what I think he actually was trying to say, and I don't like to do this because I think you say what you say and he had a chance to fix it and he hasn't said it this way. But at the end of the day, I think what he wanted to say that isn't political, the right political jargon is black people all vote for Democrats, percentage-wise. Latinos, I don't understand, but somehow half of them still vote Republican. Okay? That's what I think he was trying to get at but that's literally what he's saying is because they don't have a diverse mindset, which is exactly what we've talked about on this show in terms of calling people monolithic, right? Oh, they've got to think this way. And I believe it. The reason why he keeps saying this stuff is because this is actually who he is. This is what he actually thinks. And we all know there's certain things that certain cultures have in common. But when you hold those people in such a way that you're not black if you don't do it this way, you're not a good person if you don't do it this way, you do not have diversity of thought if you do not think the same way that I do, that's all the stuff that the Republicans have been saying about the Democrats that they go, no, that's not, we do not look at it that way. And then he comes out and says exactly that. And he believes it. That's why he keeps saying it. And this is not somebody taking his words out of context. This isn't cutting quotes up. I mean, did you notice that in that interview that he had, trying to think if it was the same. No, the guy started asking him what his positions were, right? And as he was talking about the different positions, the guy goes, what do you do you think they test you for cocaine before you do this?
Yeah.
Like that was so, first of all, yes, that was racist the way he said it. His whole demeanor was horrific. He tried to answer the question, forgot what the question was, started bumbling. And then once he started bumbling, he just kind of got stuck in it. And then I don't even know what the hell he was talking about. Can't tell the difference between the elephant and the lion. And then, you know what? And we're going to do this. We're going to do this on this show because they are going to have 3 debates. When they have the debates, we're going to have a live stream and we're going to have bingo boards. And whenever Trump says we're the greatest at something, we're going to take a shot. And whenever Biden forgets what he's saying, so he goes, I shouldn't say, you know what? I just won't say it because I know I probably shouldn't. That's going to be on the board. He's already used that like 5 times.
He does that a lot. Yeah.
There's no way you're about to say something that you shouldn't say. You just forgot what you were saying. And anytime Trump uses 2 hands to drink water, we're going to take a shot. And anytime Biden says something and totally forgets what he's talking about, so then he just digresses for no reason, we're going to take a shot. We're going to be hammered in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh man, we taking shots at everybody.
Do you want to talk about some of these screens that you sent just recently?
Yeah. Go ahead and throw some up on the screen. We got Biden's got some quotes here. We got some tweets from Biden. He actually said, earlier today, I made some comments about diversity in the African-American and Latino communities that I want to clarify. In no way did I mean to suggest the African-American community is a monolith, not by identity, not on issues, not at all. So he also went on to say, throughout my career, I've witnessed the diversity of thought, background, and sentiment within the African-American community. It's this diversity that makes our workplaces, community, and country a better place. So he's trying to cover his tracks. I mean, he knows he fucked up, basically.
He didn't write that.
Hold on. Let me get in on the way that he wrote that note. First of all, I don't believe he wrote it. But let's say he did.
I think he probably wrote the first one. I don't think he wrote the second one.
So here's the thing. Notice in there what he doesn't say. Okay. Notice
he used the word monolith. I like that. He used the word monolith. I really like
and when you're misunderstood, you are supposed to say then what you actually meant. Notice how he didn't say that. He just said what he didn't mean. Right. Black people don't have any diversity of thought, but they're not a monolith. I swear they're not a monolith. I mean, I've seen them do different things before. They play basketball and they run fast. Like, it doesn't make you not racist, you dummy. Like, come out. If you were misunderstood, say what you were trying to say. Don't tell me what you weren't saying that is actually exactly what you said.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
That is a horrible apology. I would rather you, and I'm not. I know that I'm on the Republican side of things, so and the conservative right. So when I say this, people might jump on me, but the truth is that when Trump had the whole beef about whether he said this thing about people on both sides, he did try to defend himself in terms of saying, well, there were good people. There were people out there that were arguing about the statues, and I do speak out against the blah, blah, blah. And he went into what he did do and then what he didn't do. Don't say that you just didn't do it. Like, what if he just came out and was like, I didn't say anything racist? Yeah, that's not good enough. You didn't do it. Everybody's gonna go, yes, you did. I heard you say it. You don't, but you have to say what you said. You don't get to go, no, I didn't. Like,
no, I didn't. They're not a monolith. It's kind of.
They're not a monolith. They just have no diversity of thought.
Yeah.
What?
No diversity of thought. That you guys have all the same interests. You have the black interest. It's all the same. That's why that's why when what's his name from Ventilators came on Monday, and he was saying that the Republicans and that so-and-so Kayshawn was voting against black interest. I kept saying, well, no, we got to be specific about this shit, man. What exactly is black interest? Like, what are you talking about specifically? Because it's not the same. That's not the same all across the board. It's not a monolith. I know black Republicans, black Democrats, black independents, all across the board. Black employees, black entrepreneurs. So it's not the same. It's just not the same. People try to lump black people in this
Biden is finally starting to come out a little bit, and he's starting to hurt himself a little bit more than what he wants to, and the polls are starting to reflect it. I think Trump's starting to gain ground. Kenny showed some numbers earlier. What do you got, Ken?
So I got the Real Clear Politics average. Now, a lot of people just compare the average. So if you go by the average, the numbers have went from 9 to 6, or actually from 11 to 6.4. But it's actually, he's gained even more ground than that, because in the 2 of the 3 latest polls, being the Harris and the Hill, they both found, the Harris and Rasmussen both had Biden at +3 now. He was at +15 on July 14th. So that gap has narrowed, and I think that's because Biden has came out. And the more that Biden speaks, he has just been a constant drag on himself. So even though I don't think Trump has really helped himself, I will say this: Trump's approval rating is at 47, which is actually higher than Barack Obama's was in 2014 when he won his re-election campaign. So the Trump side of people that believe in Trump, they are more energized, and he better. And I don't know if you guys heard this, but I guess supposedly somebody called in. They said they couldn't say who it was, but somebody called in. I want to say it was to it was to CNN, because it was earlier today. I was listening to CNN on Sirius, and they talked about that. Somebody came in and said Biden has to choose a black running mate. At this point, he has, even though he, had 2 people there anyways that were both people of color, or however they want to terminology it. But he has to. And that's one of the things that I don't like, being in a position where we have to do something because insert race. Right. I want it to be, I'm perfectly, I'm a Dolphins fan. I actually think Brian Flores is going to be the best coach in the NFL. That's what I think. I love that dude as a coach. I want him to be our coach.
Hey, you can make the Dolphins go on a 5-game winning streak at the end of last year. You're doing something special.
Because they had the least talented.
They did.
Least talented team in the league.
They had the youngest team in the league.
They did as well.
Yep.
I think Colts were second. Right?
Yep.
Colts.
Yep. And so my point is that I like him because he's the best coach. I don't give a dang what color his skin is. If somebody's going to hire somebody, I want them to hire the best. I don't want them to go look at the stats and make sure that they have their demographic filled. And you know what? There's never been a Japanese head coach. So let me try to find a Japanese head coach. And they're like, we don't play football. And the guy's like, get over here. We need one Japanese guy. Like, right. I don't want to do that. By all means, there's certainly black people that will do a fantastic job as president of the United States. I could give you a whole list of them. B. Tatum, baby. Jericho Green. That would be my party right there. And so it just, I want people, and I voted for Herman Cain. For people that don't know, and Herman Cain passed away. We talked about it a little bit the other day. I voted for Herman Cain. So I thought Herman Cain was the best candidate out of the primary that year. He didn't win, but that's why I pulled for, because I thought he was going to be good. So I don't look at that. I think that, I just want to see him pick the right person. And a little bit, I think some of the polls are going to drop too. The other day, the Democrat Party came out and said, well, he doesn't have to pick a candidate. He said he was going to pick a candidate by the 1st. Here we are. It's the 7th. Like, why did he come out and say, oh, well, I said I would decide. I didn't say I would tell everyone else. Really, bro? Really? That's like we give it personally decided. Like, if you decide on the 1st and you're dragging to the 7th, you're an asshole, because you got 2 people that are just waiting. Like, you gonna let me know?
Like, do I have the job? Or like, do I need to move?
Well, I know. I'm just gonna wait.
Right. Like, what's going on? Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, Joe Biden. I mean, just first off, the polls, and I didn't believe him when they had Biden up 15 points, and I don't believe him now. I mean, polls don't mean shit. We all know it. We talked about it on the show. The polls, they don't mean anything. They actually had, the polls are constantly lying.
It's a matter of who you poll too, right? Like, if I'm going to poll the pro-democratic individuals, obviously Biden's numbers are going to be way high, right?
I mean, they had Bernie Sanders up on the polls against Joe Biden.
Well,
the entire Democratic, all through the Democratic primaries and everything.
Well, he would have
punished.
won, but they all dumped money into Biden. But here's the thing,
because they know Bernie can't be bought, and that's the other part about it too. Is that we'll go ahead, Kenny? Go ahead, because
all I was going to say was, I don't look for polls and go, hey, this guy's up 3. That means he's really winning by 3. But the direction of the polls matter to me. If I see it's widening, then it is widening. Now, maybe that's a 3-point, maybe that's 15 points. But if Biden's getting worse, I do believe that he's getting worse. And even though I don't trust the numbers of the polls, if Trump's numbers are going down, I'm going to look at that and go, he's doing something wrong, because all these polls, right, the average law of numbers, when you're talking about big numbers, so you look at all these polls, and if the whole general direction of the polls are going down for Trump, he is going down, whether he's winning or not. And we all know that this is national, which doesn't really have anything to do with anything, because the votes really come down to the swing states. They come down to certain counties.
Voters.
Yeah, and so there's swing voters that really determine a lot of the election, and those are the things that we'll have to, those numbers are probably more important, but those numbers actually, those gaps have closing too. So everything is looking like, even though I thought it was going to be close anyways, it's kind of getting more competitive. But Biden's going to have to do something, because there's a part of me, even though I want Trump to win, that is going to be kind of embarrassed for Biden. Like, I feel like Biden might be like, well, let's see who can do more push-ups or some dumb shit. And Trump's just going to, and I'll tell you this, what's going to be the funniest, and maybe this will be a magic bingo where we'll have to do 2 shots if this happens. Ready? Because this is going to happen during the election or during the debates. Biden's going to lose his spot. And you know what's going to happen? Trump's going to be like, what? Don't you say it. You can't say it because you forgot. And then everybody's going to be like, he's so mean. And I'm going to spit up whatever I took a shot of, because I'm not going to be able to breathe. I mean,
and it's crazy. And look, and I know I haven't had much good to say about Biden really in general, not just this show, but there's been other episodes. I've been honest about it. I'm not going to try to paint this fairy tale picture that CNN or NPR or anybody else wants to paint about Biden. I mean, I don't agree with the chopping and screwing of his interviews and things like that, and making him look like more of a bumbling, fumbling idiot than what it really is. Like, you don't have to exaggerate it. He has issues, but he can complete a sentence and things like that. It's ridiculous. But the polls, I actually kind of feel like the media uses the polls in reverse. Like, for example, it's just like when I was talking about Bernie Sanders, they said that Bernie Sanders was up, and then he ended up getting spanked. Now, I know a bunch of people poured money into the Biden campaign, but I feel like also too, like they were saying that Biden was up 15 points. Now, all of a sudden, you've got this rave pretty much over the past 2 days. You got apparently Trump pulling it within 3 points, and I don't really believe the polls, but I feel like they use the polls as a tactic to get voters to come out to vote the opposition more, because they're like, oh man, Biden's gonna win. Because I'll be honest with you, people that support Trump support Trump. They're not like, I haven't talked to anybody that voted for Trump last year that's like, yeah, I'm not voting for him this year. I haven't talked to any of those people.
They do have one
I don't
Democrat
like Trump
commercial, and I started laughing at it because everyone that I've talked, I've actually met a couple people that voted against him that will be voting for him, and I know it's anecdotal, but I haven't met everybody. Like, and we went over, just the other day. He pretty much did what he said he was going to do. If you are not going to vote for him this time, but you voted for him last time, like, what were you expecting? Like, what? Because he literally did exactly the same thing.
We're not used to politicians following through on their promises.
I think that person would probably be the individual that has some sort of culture that really just falls victim to Trump's awful rhetoric. So I think that would probably be the main thing when it comes to accomplishing.
But he's had awful rhetoric his entire life. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I don't think there's been any. There hasn't been, like, he's a womanizer. Like, what? Where have you been your whole entire life? He's been a womanizer since I remember. I mean,
I saw some shit today. I saw some shit today, and it was like, well, he cheated on his wife. He does all this.
He cheated on all of his wives.
I'm just saying, we already know all this.
Right.
The point is that we wanted him in office because we were tired of the politicians in the office. We wanted something different. And we wanted
something different. Yep. That's
what
it was.
And he has not been a right-wing Republican. He hasn't. I could give you 5 different policies that he's done that are not right-wing policy decisions. I mean, even and not just policy, but just things that he's done. I mean, having the Black Coalition meetings. No other Republicans ever done that. Doing
so I'm glad you brought that up though, and I'm glad that he did that, and on the surface it does look really good, and I actually watched the meetings and there was a lot of really good things discussed. So if he really takes them into account and implements these things, or gets some sort of legislation going for a lot of the topics they discussed, it could really be great. But at the time that he had that roundtable, there was he was in the news heavily, the Juneteenth thing, the whole race thing. So there's a part of me that feels like he could have potentially been doing it as like a pandering tactic, or maybe just kind of to. But you know what I'm saying?
Like, here's how I'm going to tell you it's not pandering, or it's consistent pandering, because that's who Trump's been his whole life. Again, you go back, he was hanging out with Mike Tyson and all his buddies. He was in the streets with people, hanging out with people who were, he got the NAACP Man of the Year award. So this guy, and he was not even a politician then. So all I'm saying is that he's been constant. I remember watching his roundtables when he was running for president, and that's when he got caught, however you want to say it, where he said, "What do you have to lose?" He literally went in and was like, if we can build up and do the opportunity zones, and we're going to do some police reform, we're going to do these things that he has since tried to do, and putting more money in. I'll tell you this. I mean, there's so many programs out there that my business partners just called me about today, and we'll talk offline about them, and ways that you can help boost your business. And it's crazy. They're there, and he's doing that. And it does not matter the color of your skin. I know, because both my business partners did it before me, who are both Black. And I was like, why you ain't tell me? I wanted to use my white privilege. But they said that their friend privilege trumped mine. So, but all I'm saying is that, and I'm not saying he's done great or bad or whatever, but he's at least always done that. And then he actually did the stuff that he said he was going to do, which most people don't. And then he hasn't done the infrastructure yet. That's supposed to come this next 4, but he's been in office 3 years, and one of the years was Corona'd out. So, or 4 years, and one of them is Corona'd out.
That's the other thing too, man. Biden's been in office for what?
40 plus years.
44 years total.
44 years.
Politics, 44 years total. I think he's been in office like 32 years.
And I don't understand how you can say, I want change, I want things to be better, but you're going to go back to the same guy that's been in office for 40 plus years. Like,
I mean, again, and I want to be clear, guys. I want to be clear. I am not a Trump supporter. I do not like Donald Trump.
I think people are going to misread you because Biden is a terrible candidate. I mean,
Yeah, I do not like Donald Trump.
Right? Like,
he will not get my vote at all, ever.
We have already stated this on the show several times. The last, I think, 3 or 4 elections haven't been, I'm voting for this guy because I love him. You know what I mean? Maybe Obama.
I think Obama was. Obama definitely was.
The first time around.
His first election, maybe, because he did
just
have
like Trump. I think Trump's first time around, people were like, now, because I was originally going to vote for Trump, and then I didn't like the Mexican comment, and it was a whole litany of shit that came out that I was just like, and it just didn't. I couldn't vote for that. And it's like, it's certain things that Trump does well.
Anti-political movement,
right. He did come out with that. And look, let's clean the swamp, so to speak. He did come out with that. Yeah,
exactly. It horrible, and the way he talks to reporters, horrible. Telling them to go back to where they can. Horrible,
I mean, but in all fairness, though, Glenn, they don't sugarcoat anything when they talk to him either. You know what I mean?
No, but they're not. But they're also not being blatant bitches.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, you can't just tell somebody to go back to the ghetto neighborhood,
even if you give yourself the title of CEO, Glenn, eventually that one reporter is going to keep coming at you and keep coming at you.
So let me point this out. So the other day I had a client call me up, and this client started just jawing at me. In the middle of her jawing at me, I just said, "I don't need you as a client." And I hung up. And then she sent me this nasty email, and I'm like, that's cool. I can't wait to get rid of you as a client. And my point is that Trump, that vitriol, anybody that's read any of his books or followed him for his life, that's who he is. Like, if you shoot a dart at him, he's going to shoot 2 at you. That was not Obama. So it was definitely a big change for people who saw the Obama personality, which Obama was more presidential than Trump is, but Trump.
Well, I don't even think it's being presidential. I think it's just common decency and respect. I mean,
you
don't have to agree with somebody to.
Right.
You don't have to agree with somebody. You can't just be telling people to go back to the drug-infested neighborhood.
But here's as the owner of a company.
No, but here's the thing: is that can be Glenn's opinion.
So
right?
let me ask you something real quick, Kenny. Because I'm actually glad we're having this discussion because there's been. And not to look, the Trump's or Biden's discussions always get swallowed up by Trump.
We're lost in the Obama translation.
But it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you something really fast, Kenny. So we're talking about Trump and the things that he said, and I mean, you've pretty much admitted, they don't sound good. They're inflammatory and things like that. Let me just ask you because there's a part of me that kind of feels like. You're kind of trying to not really justify it, but maybe like over-explain it
No, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, I just want to ask you something really. No, not personally, but I want to ask you if Obama, Obama, if Obama had been caught on tape talking about grabbing women in the pussies, what do you think would have happened? How bad do you think the right? How bad do you think the right would have tore him up? Do you think he would? You think the left would have still voted for him?
Yeah, I think nothing would have changed. I mean,
you don't think a black man saying those same things? You don't think it would have been different?
He would have caught some heat, Glenn, but nowhere near.
I'm going to tell you why he wouldn't have caught any heat. He wouldn't have caught any heat because the minute somebody would have said something, they would have just said racist. They would have just said hypocrisy. They would have just said locker room talk. And the same thing for me, I would have been like, first of all, I would have said the same exact thing, no matter who the politician is. What he said, I have zero problem with what he said, and I don't understand how people do. I really don't, because first of all,
he's admitting to sexually assaulting.
No. That's again. I would ask you right now if we can.
He was like, he said, I own. He was like, I own the pageants. He was like, yeah, I just go up to him and grab him right in the pussy.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said. And that's the thing that's the reason why Democrats can get away with it is because. And it'll hurt Republicans because they'll just lie about what was actually said. He says they will let you. That is not a sexual assault. You can just go up and just grab them they just let you. If they let you, then you are not sexually assaulting anybody. You're not. It's something that I mean, we all know, like behind closed doors, every person on earth knows that the rich get away with being with hot girls if you're old and rich You know, the whole young girl, old guy is because they want you because you have money. And that's what he was talking about. Notice how when they came out of it, now remember, he was getting recorded at this time. He comes out of the thing and he says, "Oh, I'm going to read you the exact quote. Hold on, I'm going to read you the exact quote."
I'm going to put it up on the screen.
But hold on, but hold on. But this is what I'm talking. This is what I'm getting at though, because now.
But the words matter. The words matter because everybody kept acting like he was saying.
But we're starting to excuse bullshit. But we're starting to excuse the nonsense. Like the direct quote was, and a part of the quote was, "I don't even wait." And when you're a star, they let you do it. So
I'm going to read the exact quote. I'm going to read the exact quote.
So you can do anything.
No.
By the pussy.
I want to read the exact quote, Glenn. We're going to read the exact quote.
I just read it.
I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. When you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
So let me tell you something really quick.
If a guy, hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Do it.
Let me finish.
Make it okay.
Yes, it does. If they let you do it, it is not breaking the law. It is not sexual assault.
18-year-old women in the pussy is not.
If they want them to, it doesn't matter. Who are you to tell them they shouldn't want them to? Look, I don't think it's right to do. But
letting someone do it and wanting to do it are two different things. Just because they let him doesn't mean they wanted him to, right? And that's why they got non-disclosure agreements with all these girls. Because people have asked, where are these girls at? Why haven't they come forward? Because they can't.
No, that's not.
Because if they weren't binded by contract, they would. Him, Bloomberg, they're all the same. They have non-disclosure agreements out the wazoo.
Right, but how does a non-disclosure work and why does it even come up? So again, the idea that just because somebody signs an NDA and pays somebody money that they're guilty is nonsense. And anybody that doesn't understand that has never been sued before. Because when you've been sued, you understand that it costs you. And I'll give you a great example. In my own personal life, I had somebody lie about basically who I was and not my father's son. It cost me over $200,000 in court. I should have just said, okay, I'm not his son. Right. So that's a lie, but I had to pay $200,000. What I should have done, I should have just lied and said, okay, I'm not my dad's son. So I should have just let the person sue me and I should have just paid them off 25 grand or whatever it would have cost instead of paying for the attorney fees for $200,000. A business personality is always going to take that. Now, first of all, sexually assaulting somebody, I have 4 daughters. It's never okay to sexually assault somebody. Ever. Okay,
look, but several girls let Jeff Epstein
allowing
rape them. It doesn't mean they wanted it to happen.
I think we got to understand the context too, Glenn. And he was talking like locker talk to a buddy.
I get it. Yeah, he was talking to Jeff Epstein. He was talking to Jeff Epstein. That's who he was talking to. The conversation was with Jeff Epstein.
Right.
They're all fucking
I don't think it was Jeff Epstein.
No, it was not. It was the guy at the
Hold on.
from
it was a little short dude, Jeff Epstein.
No, his name's not Jeff Epstein.
No.
I'd know his name if I heard it, but it's a dude from Access. It's Billy Bush.
Billy Bush.
Oh yeah, Billy Bush. Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, it's not Jeffrey Epstein.
Look, listen. That comment does not make him anywhere close to what Jeffrey Epstein is.
Not even remotely.
Not even close.
And here's the thing. And Jeffrey Epstein was a pig and deserves to burn in hell. But a lot of times, even in those situations, you have girls that are 22 years old that have sex with people, and then all of a sudden, they just thought they were just going to go to some island and have sex with people, and then what? Like, I actually had my kids watch the show with me, and it's like, you can say both things. I hate the dichotomy bullshit where I have to act like this girl is just simply a victim. Like, no, he is evil. He is terrible. He should fry. He should die. She is 22, allows the guy to do certain things. Certain girls were 22, 23 years old. You're letting this one girl brought her sister. I'm sorry, you're a piece of shit.
Look, of course. Look, these girls are not innocent. Nobody's saying that. Absolutely. I agree with you 100% there. These girls are not innocent. I think in the beginning, they were innocent because a lot of them in the beginning didn't know what they were getting into. But after a trip or two, you know what the fuck's going on. Why
and some of them don't know. And it's sad because you can be 25 and be naive.
Sure.
Okay. And you can be, and
You can
For
be
sure.
you can be book smart, but you can be hella stupid.
I mean,
smart.
the idea that
That's a whole lot of stupid.
This guy's gonna pay for your college because you're cute. He wants to smash. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, wake up and smell the roses.
Listen,
like, where are your parents?
You're not getting free college for nothing.
I don't like the sentiment of what Trump was talking about. I don't like the sentiment because it's not good for anybody. Okay, it's not good. But what he said is nothing that any of us haven't heard. It's just not something like it would not shock us if we're with some rich dude and I've seen this happen. I was at a bar. I seen a guy grab a girl and start kissing her and then pull her shirt up, and I was like, duh. And she was just down with it. So then who am I? What am I supposed to stop the dude? She's having a good time. He's having a good time. I'm like, man, that's crazy to me. I'm not that dude. So me personally, I don't do that. If he gets charged with that, I want him to go to jail. But I've seen too much to act like that there's not girls that want these rich guys to grab them, bang them, and pay all their bills. And I've just seen it too much.
And look,
for
in
sure.
the whole
They're out there.
Hollywood scene, the whole Hollywood scene, you don't think for 1 second that actresses, male actors, male, female actors have been banging their way to the top. They've all done that,
well, you saw the guy. I mean, we all saw Harvey Weinstein. He's the most ugly, disgusting pig you've ever seen in your life. And the reason why he was, and again, he should fry in hell too, right?
Sure.
But how many times did the girls just take it and go with it?
Sure.
Right? Like, the fact that it just came out now with these charges, and it's like, how many actresses did this? And everybody, now they're a victim, but they weren't a victim when they were making $30 million because they did it that way to get to the top. And again, there's blame on both sides. And
and I don't think that's right. I think like if a woman does something and they actually got something out of it, something tangible that can be traced or tracked, you go back and look at it. Okay, you did this, and because of that, you were awarded this position in your profession, this salary, this, that, or you were given this amount of money, X amount of dollars. You see the withdrawal. That is something totally different. You can't go claiming victim after you benefited from a sexual act. Like, it's ridiculous to me. I mean, people do it all the time.
They've definitely done that, though.
But then the money runs out. They're not relevant anymore. And then, hey, guess what? Oh, I'm going to play the victim now just so I can get back in the limelight.
Right. I'm talking about there's actual
the real victims.
You're right. I'm talking about the real victims that are really being taken advantage of. That, and this is the thing too. If you sign a non-disclosure agreement, I guess how much of a victim can you really be?
I mean, didn't Kobe?
I guess, and look,
Kobe have
and that's a hard one too,
one?
because I'm going to play devil's advocate against my own self. Even though I believe that non-disclosures are hard to judge as guilties because somebody can come up and sue you for that, I also believe that if I'm a young woman and some guy sexually assaults me and I bring it up and I have to prove it, and it's very difficult. I was thinking about one of the Jeffrey Epstein things that I saw where he has this girl in this massage room.
Yeah.
He starts having sex with her. And I'm thinking, well, what if it's him and he thinks that this is what she wants? He thinks, how dumb could you be? You know why you're here. Right. We start doing whatever you're doing. And then you go this other way with it. And you go, okay, so what if I'm him? It's very difficult. I can see it both ways. If I'm a girl and I go, well, what if I was really scared, right? What if a girl really was scared? And so this guy then offers her 30 grand and she's like, I mean, I'm going to fight this in court forever. I'm never going to get any, I would probably just be better off taking it. It's tough on both sides. So I am extremely, because I have sons and daughters. So I just look at it as if one was my son and one was my daughter. Hopefully not the other, because that would be even worse situation. But anyways, getting back to the original thing is I don't agree with the sentiment of what he said. And I think society is wrong for what he said, if that makes sense. Yes, he's wrong for saying it, but society has bred that into most of us to think that these entitled billionaires can just do whatever they want. And these girls want it. They do. They let them because they want to be in that room with them. We watched the Batman movie, Dark Knight. He comes into the thing. He's got the two girls with him, right? Then they're sitting in his car with him. They're swimming in the fountain thing, right? We watched that in a movie. No one's surprised, right? Why are they not surprised? Because we all know as a society that actually happens. I watched we're on a show that may one day blow up. So I don't want to say who this person is. This is a famous person, okay, that I was at an event with. And this dude's got just random girls with him that you can tell he simply got them. And they are just coattail chasing.
I mean, look
and
at
so,
see, and I'm glad you brought that up too, Kenny, because like when you were sick, it was me and Fred on the show. We were talking about the Cosby case, and I brought that exact thing up. And you're exactly freaking right, man. With these celebrities, these billionaires, highly successful, wealthy people, they are not taking the booty. I'm telling you, I've been in the studio with LL Cool J, with Fat Joe, with several celebrities.
And they get it tossed at them like every 10 seconds.
Bro, I'm telling you, they got so much butt. If anything, they're trying to get rid of the booty. They're trying to pass it off to their friends and shit. They're trying to mail it home. They're trying to dish it off. They're trying to get rid of the booty, man. They're not taking no booty. So I said the same exact thing. It's like, you look at Bill Cosby's situation, right? Like, these guys, it's just kind of hard to believe. He's drugging people and taking the booty, and then he don't have enough sense to sign no non-disclosure agreements.
Well, and I'm not gonna go pro Cosby here, but I will say this because nobody else says this. At that point in time, taking Quaaludes, getting up to where you can barely feel anything, and then having sex was a mutual thing that many people did.
Did it, yes.
Back in the early 80s.
So these girls, some of them had said that they took the Quaaludes.
Right.
Then they claim them raping them, and it's like, what did you? And again, maybe
it's like, what were you thinking?
Right.
Like,
yeah. And I told my daughters when we were watching the Epstein thing, don't think that I'm ever justifying anything this piece of garbage did. But don't ever think some guy isn't trying to get the cake if he's inviting you on his private plane. He doesn't just think you're awesome.
Right.
Like he doesn't. Okay, that is a quid pro quo without saying anything. Right? I mean, so again, I'm not okay with what he said because I don't like the society issue of the fact that it's remarkably true, which is sad, and it's going to lead to more people getting harassed and assaulted. And kissing people without their permission is certainly not okay. I don't like everything said tongue in cheek because I think one of the most important things about that video that nobody talks about is when he came out of that bus, him and Billy Bush, right? Billy Bush was the good guy in this. When Billy Bush got out of the bus, there was a very hot girl that was they had actually been talking about her. And Billy Bush came out. What'd he do? He tried to get an upper chest hug very tight to her. He did it. It's on the video. Anybody go watch. What did Trump do? Did Trump go get a big hug from her? No. He stuck his hand out and shook her hand. We all know the guys who are all pressed up on girls. That's not his approach. His approach is handshake, keep him at a distance. That's exactly what he did. So you can say whatever you say, but when he got out of the bus, look at the way that he acted, look at the way that Billy Bush acted, and you tell me which one looked more professional. I don't even think it was close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and we can go on and on all night about Trump, Biden, and all the comments they made. We already know. We've said it before on the show. Trump, not the best individual when it comes to talking about certain things. He's way out there.
And I would never want him to date like anyone that I know.
Right.
He's definitely not dating my daughters.
Let's go off on a lighter topic here. The MLB and the NBA recently restarted their leagues. And right now, it looks like the NBA's numbers aren't so good. The MLB is, you can make a debate for MLB. But the NBA seems to be.
And rankings don't look good. They don't look good.
Yeah, I don't know what you saw, Glenn. I saw down 17%.
Yeah.
For basketball. And baseball is actually up 17%.
Up 17%, which is weird.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
But it's actually not weird to me. I would have thought that. I mean,
can
you
imagine?
Reverse. Well, yes.
Yeah.
But one of them took a very political approach.
Pro-China
I
approach.
think certain people, it just
NBA.
turned them off. Like, especially because in this time period of Corona, it's been so politicized. It's election year. Everything is so politicized. People just wanted to watch sports. And actually, more people watched the NHL. More people watched NASCAR. Outside of about 3 basketball games, which was like the opening week when it was LA against Houston and the Clippers.
Yeah.
Those games did well. But the rest of them, people were just, once they saw that, they're just like,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And now, to be fair to them, they're missing some players.
And it's,
yeah,
you don't have all your stars, and it's hard to watch.
But golf outperformed them as well.
It's
big
hard,
by 50%.
It's hard to
golf
watch.
always has good numbers, pretty much though. But yeah, they did.
But golf doesn't typically compare with the NBA
at all.
I mean, and especially not come basically playoff time. I just think that this, and again, I don't think it's that people. I know that I feel like the liberal media is going to say, "Oh, this just shows how racist we are," and it's like, no, we weren't racist when we were watching basketball last year, and we just became racist. We just don't want to deal with that shit. We just want to be able to watch some guys play basketball, watch them play baseball, watch them play football. Like, watch this. If football handles this correctly, I'll bet you opening week will break records. I mean, the first UFC fight, after, it was nuts. Everybody watched it. I mean, we were so happy to see something. I mean,
it's hard to watch a pro athlete complain about injustices when you're making millions off shoes that are made in a country where they're getting paid pennies and working 80-hour weeks. You know what I mean? It's just hard.
I mean, I get it. Like I understand. I don't look at what somebody makes or their level of success as to whether or not they should voice their opinion on an injustice. I mean, if the injustice is real,
sure.
Because for me, like I'm not, I mean, Kenny, you've been to my house. That's just one property, and I don't. I have several family members that are not doing well, that have been victims of police brutality, that live in the ghetto and things like that. So it's like, just because I make whatever or have a piece of something, I would hate for somebody to look at me and say, well, how I don't like the fact that Glenn,
I don't think they don't want to hear your opinion. I don't think that your opinion doesn't matter. I just said it. I think it's harder to hear the opinion.
I'm going to be honest with you. This is a little bit different.
I can understand.
I think it comes down to groupthink. I think a lot of people are turned off by groupthink. I was really proud of the young man that didn't wear the shirt and stood up, because he said, hey, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and that's just not what I'm doing. I stand for something different. And the lady was like, yeah, but your shirt doesn't say. And he's like, I don't care what a shirt says. I care about black people. I'm black. Well, he actually blew his knee out.
Yep.
And they actually put out a poll that was like, how many people are happy he got what he deserved? And like 47% of people said terrible. Yes. Like, that's sick, terrible. Man. I mean, that's horrific. This young man
he stood up for something and he believed.
Yeah, and I, just on principle, I like that he kind of stood against the fray. And
see, and I don't like that either. I don't really like that either. Especially within certain communities. It's like, if you're a part of this community, then you have to think this way, or you have to agree with this. I don't like that. Like,
so that's the whole thing, right? Like
comes full circle to back to the Biden thing.
The whole point is you want us to listen to all these other your viewpoint, but then again, you don't want to hear the other.
Don't want to hear nothing. Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Were there any comments before we close that you wanted to go over? Did you see any?
Nikki had a funny comment earlier.
I mean, here's one about the baseball topics. If it was legit, baseball would be up 500%. I think baseball is just one of those things where you like to go to the game. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to watch baseball on TV, and they're still outperforming the NBA. So it's weird that the NBA is doing so bad, because you would think the NBA be like good right now. Because really, baseball, I can't watch that. NASCAR, who wants to see everybody making left turns?
But I'll be honest with you, man. So watching the NBA with no crowd is brutal, bro. I didn't think it was that bad. Like, it's rough. I thought it was kind of funny. Did you see the the LA Dodgers game? I think it was the Dodgers. Yeah, where they had what's his name from Weekend at Bernie's in the stand.
It's funny. I know a couple of people have bought pictures of themselves to put in the crowd so they can be like, I'm at every game.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a funny comment right here about Trump. If you kick Melania out of the White House, there'd be a line of hose. Jockeying for position.
That would be a nightmare. Melania, please don't go anywhere.
No, please.
No, yeah, hey, I tell you,
if he was a bachelor, he'd be freaking terrible.
Well, that would be awful for American society. There's never been a president that's gone through a divorce while in office. There's never been. I mean, it just hasn't happened. So I mean, Melania. And look, I'll be honest with you. I think that there's something going on within that marriage. Because Melania doesn't really act as affectionate towards Trump as she did in the beginning. And not only that, but I've seen her like I've seen him go to hold her hand and her like reject it before. I've seen her turn away when she goes.
They were just having an argument.
Well, I'll just tell you this: she's not going anywhere, and he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he's definitely not going anywhere. He's way out of his league.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm sure people in the White House are probably telling Melania to stick it out at least through the presidency, this and that. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a divorce or a breakup after the presidency.
But it's not. This isn't.
I don't think so, because I think that culturally, I think she's a sticker outer. I really do, and she just doesn't like politics. I don't think she has any desire to be. The president's wife. I think she's been very supportive. I like Melania Trump, and I love the pictures you can find on her online. I think she's fantastic.
And she doesn't get anywhere near
especially pictures from 20 years ago.
She doesn't get any of the publicity that Michelle used to get, man, at all.
Well, of course, because Michelle was pretty incredible, and I think it's rather telling that Melania hasn't given many speeches. One of the few ones that she gave, she completely plagiarized from Michelle Obama. So it's telling right there.
Maybe that's a topic for another show. So let's wrap this up. Glenn, you want to go first?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and kick it off. Another week in the books, everybody. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. We could have been anywhere this Friday, but you stuck it out, as we always say. So going into the weekend, I just kind of want you guys to think about this. There's a lot of complexities within politics. There's a lot of complexities within American society. It's not, American society isn't a monolith, just like the Black community is not a monolith. There's a lot of, but it's also, it's not a dichotomy either. It's not like a right or wrong kind of thing. I've said it before where, you can have a father that's a great father, a great husband, but maybe is an alcoholic or something like that, right? So, there's America's kind of the same thing. But, with Biden's comments, no. I guess time will tell with that. I don't support Trump whatsoever, but Biden definitely doesn't make it easy. And as far as injecting God into religion, those were kind of the two main topics of the evening. God into religion, God into politics, rather. God into religion. Yeah, God without religion is like a burger with no cheese. Right? But God into politics, I don't like it. I don't really, I think God should stay with religion. I don't really like God being injected into anything, whether it's school, whether it's politics, at all. So that's kind of my take on that. But again, leave your questions and comments down below. We'd love to answer them. We'll get to them over the weekend as well if we didn't get to them during the show. And thanks for being with us again, guys. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Hey, everybody. So again, thanks for coming out tonight. I'm glad to be able to visit the Biedenkopf home here. And, I love my partners here. I'm glad that we get to do this show. And we really do this show so that you guys come up with a lot of ideas and just see different viewpoints. Look, we understand that people say things, Biden and Trump, that they shouldn't say. And sometimes I always wonder what the deeper meaning of what they're saying is. And sometimes I think that all of us should just be careful to not instantly judge somebody as stupid if they make a mistake or, a rapist or a racist. I mean, look at the person and then just try to do the best for you. If you feel like this person's a horrible person, don't vote for them. If you find somebody that you do like, vote for them. If you want to vote for somebody to be against somebody else, you're certainly allowed to do that as well. Hopefully we'll just take the opportunity to be able to support the candidate that we can do the best with. And again, just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and we look forward to talking to you in the future.
So, another awesome show, episode 28 in the books. We'd like to thank all the audience to come out, especially on a Friday night. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Hey, look, if you want anything brought up on a future show, hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on email. Throw us a comment on Facebook or YouTube. Say, hey, look, I want you guys to talk about this on the next show. We'll get it done, all right? That's why we're here. We want to show you both sides of the spectrum and prove a point that, hey, look, at the end of the day, even though we might not see eye to eye, we've seen eye to eye a couple of the last shows. But, there's shows where we don't see eye to eye. At the end of the day, we're still friends, man. It's all nothing but love and respect. So we appreciate y'all tuning in. You know, Friday night, be safe out there. You know, don't go getting in any trouble. All right. And nothing good happens after midnight. You know, you heard that. All right. So
don't grab anybody by the nothing.
That's right. That's right. So
don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Continue washing those hands, and we'll see y'all on Monday. Have a good weekend, America.